G'day legends, Blake here with another video, and today we're going to try and win $1,000 assembling this micro aquascape in a tank that fits in the palm of your hand. Let's jump straight into the video. So this is an all-in-one kit. It's 40 ounces, which I think is about 1.2 liters. So very, very small, obviously, but I just think it's kind of cute and kind of cool. It comes with a light, a little sump and everything, so it looks totally legitimate. And there's a $1,000 promotion. I think they're gonna pick the top 5 entries, and it's gonna be drawn in July 2024. So still plenty of time if you do wanna pick one of these up. They just recently dropped from Delua, so you pick them up at delua.com.au. I'll drop a comment in the description and in the pinned comment. I haven't paid for this one yet, but I do think that I have to pay for it, so there's no real bias or anything like that. I wanted to get one of these, however, I just said, give me a little while to pay for it, and they just sent it out to me straight away. So yeah, I don't think I'm getting it for free, but hopefully we'll see how well this video does, I guess. In any case, I'll crack it open and we'll take a look at exactly what you get inside. But obviously, it's a very small tank, so please be responsible if you are going to put any sort of livestock in this. We'll talk about options for that later on in the video. So we'll crack open the box now, and a couple of things. So they do ship them out, and these tanks are acrylic. So there's less likelihood of glass breaking and things like that. But do be mindful if there is any algae buildup. You can't just scrape down acrylic like you would glass. For that reason, I recommend a magic eraser if you're just not familiar with acrylic. For people in the States watching, it probably makes a lot of sense, but we don't really have a lot of acrylic tanks here in Australia. So inside the box, it looks nice and neat, surrounded by bubble wrap. This is the LED light, so we'll crack that open in just a second. But here is this adorable little tank. I was a little bit worried because at the front it says reef ready, and I was like, oh geez, are they expecting me to do a saltwater tank in this? But no, this is the freshwater version, which is of course my bread and butter. All right, look at it, it's so cool. It's got a little Delua logo on the sump there. It comes fully assembled, and it looks totally cool. I think this would be really cool on a desktop or something like that. Maybe a little hallway entrance table where you put your keys. I think something like that would look pretty cool, but I'll just take all the packaging off so we can get a better look. Okay, so I opened up the other little box, and it's got a couple of little cotton buds as well, some USB points, a sticker for P&W Customs, and a little packet of carbon and ChemiPure by the looks of it. So, and I got a little double USB power plug for it as well. However, being an international thing, I think you'll get whatever country of origin you order from. So if you order from the States, you'll get a United States plug, I do believe. But here's the little tank in all its glory, and you can see my whole fish room in the reflection, but we'll push on. I really love these adorable acrylic lids for the tank and the sump. They have little feet, so that they don't come sliding off nice and easy. So that's pretty awesome. I think before we get too ahead of ourselves with scaping and all that, I want to just fill it up with water and take a bit of a look at it so we can know what we're in for how we're going to set it up. I thought it'd be funny to fill it up with an airline, like a mini gravel vac, but I'm just too impatient for that. So I'm going to fill it with a little cup. The water might look a bit weird just because I'm using aquarium water. I mean, it's 1 liter, so it'll just be a little water change. I'm not putting aquarium water in for any kind of bacteria or anything like that, because bacteria doesn't live in the water column, it lives on stuff. As you fill it up, you notice that water starts to go down the little overflow there in the corner and then starts to go into the sump. So you just need to look on the side, and there's a fill indicator there. As you can see, I've overfilled it, but once the pump starts moving some water around, some will go down. Okay, let's plug it in and see what we're working with. Now this light here does look to be a bit wonky, but I just need to tighten it all up. But obviously I'll be taking that off in a second to scape it all up. But yeah, it's looking good. It's moving some water. It's actually moving quite a lot of water around, and the light is nice and bright. This would be kind of cool too, because both of the things are USB powered. So we could actually take this outside, like I could take it down beside a little creek or a river and do a little escape in nature, all outside, and just put it on a power bank, and we'd have a little aquascape all on the side of a little bit of water. So if you want to see that, let me know and we can maybe do that in the future. All right, so I think we're ready to get started now. It all looks to be going well. So we'll drain down some of this water and we'll get started scaping it out. The main challenge we're gonna have is that anything we put in there is gonna look massive. So we're gonna go with small things, small granular aqua soil or sand, small leafed plants, and definitely small hardscape. Okay, so I've just drained the tank down and drained the sump down because we are gonna have to set up the sump too. But to get started at the back, I'm just gonna put some of this aqua soil in there. And my idea is I'm gonna go with sand because I think the finer granule of sand is just gonna work best in this very small tank. But I still wanna create a bit of depth and I'm gonna put some plants in here. So I'm gonna put a little bit of aqua soil at the back, and by a little bit, I mean literally like a few handfuls. Okay, so I've got some sand here, and this is a really fine grained sand, which actually usually I'd avoid using in a tank at all. But for this, I think it's gonna work really great. Reason I would avoid it in other tanks is just because it compacts down pretty firmly, but I think it's gonna help us. Being really careful here as well to sort of roll the sand on top of the aqua soil so it doesn't mix in. Inevitably, that will happen over time, but we want it to at least look good on day one. The other good thing is this tank is from one of my Endler tanks, so it's gonna be nice and full of bacteria so we can quote unquote instant cycle this bad boy. Okay, so I think that's looking pretty good now. Might just try and bring everything to the back a little bit. Let's try and flatten it out a little so we can try and introduce some more depth if we can. Now is going to be the hard part. We're going to try and put some hardscape in here. For the hardscape, I'm thinking I've got this black lava rock, but obviously this is too big for the tank. So I'm going to take a hammer and smash it up. The little pieces as well will be great to accent around a couple of larger pieces. Okay, so I made a huge mess, but I got 3 pieces here, as well as all this crumbled up goodness. So good rule of thumb is go with odd numbers, 3, 5, 7, 9, etc. And the general rule of thumb is you just want to go with a triangle, whether it's a triangle up that way or a triangle down that way. Or you want to have sort of split the tank into thirds, and that's what you want to weigh it out as, if that makes sense. So given that we've got the overflow bit in the corner here, we're going to put our biggest rock here and work our way biggest to smallest from left to right. So there's no exact way to do it, which way you're gonna have your stone, but as a general rule of thumb, you just want all the grains to go in the same direction, all the sort of angles to go in the same direction, because that's how it happens in nature. So your eye just naturally looks like that. So for example, we're just gonna keep moving around these rocks here and just find what seems to work best. So as you can see, like 3 tiny little segments of rock has really filled this up. So we're gonna have to really put our thinking caps on to find a plant that's not gonna overpower this too much. Okay, so it's time now for plants, and this is what's really gonna bring it together. So I found some of this ambulia here, which I think looks really nice, because what we want is really, really fine leaves. That's what's gonna give us a sense of size, a sense of scale. If we just put a plant in there with 1 leaf, well, of course it's gonna seem really tiny, but we wanna sort of create an effect where we've got small things that can appear big. That's why I really like the small holes in the lava stone, so that it will seem like big craters and dents. That's the idea anyway. So I got this milfoil here, which I think will be perfect. As well as that, I found a couple of nice little rhizomes of Anubias nano petite, which, you know, by nature is going to be petite. I think so. So I'm going to put the Ambulia in the corner there, and I'm going to put the nano petite over here covering the inlet, I think. In the end, I ended up just putting the two Anubias right in the middle and just scattering the Ambulia around the sides. I think it looks better that way, and sort of having the bigger Anubias in between the two bigger rocks and then the smaller between the two smaller seemed to make sense to me. Now the last job, of course, is to fill out the sump, and I'm going to use the ChemiPure that we got, which is resin and carbon. So I'm going to put that just next to the pump there, but in between I'm going to just put a little block of sponge so that we can get some mechanical filtration as well. So here you can get a bit of more of an idea, hopefully without the reflection of what the scape's looking like. I mean, obviously it's a tiny little tank, 1.2 liters again, or 40 ounces. So there's only so much you can do with it, but I'm happy with how it came up. And the sump is also set up now, so you can see we've got a big old block of sponge in there and our bag of carbon / ChemiPure. So this should be good. Off and running, and that filter should clear this up in no time. Okay, so it's a couple of hours later now. As you can see, the tank is up and running and looking pretty good, I reckon. I think it's crystal clear, running nicely. It's really, really quiet, and time will tell how this goes. I did think about catching a couple of shrimps or a couple of snails to put them in here, but to be honest, I just think it'll make a mess when I catch them out afterwards, and it's a bit cruel to do that just for the sake of a video. So I'm just gonna leave it as is, and at the minimum, I'll grow out some of this Anubias and just enjoy it for what it is. So there you go, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if anything, it's really just a good warm up for when I scape out the 80 centimeter tank. I've got the pet show this weekend, so hopefully I can be inspired there. I've got some of your great ideas in the comments, but if you haven't left a comment yet, let me know what you'd like to see in terms of foreground, midground, and background plants and hardscape for this tank here, because I'll be doing a full scape on that. And I can let you know, I have decided on the livestock and I'll be picking them up this weekend, so stay tuned for that. If you did like this video, it always helps me to smash like, hit subscribe, and all that fun stuff. There's another one of my videos right there if you enjoy my content. Other than that, look after yourselves. I'll catch you on the next one.